Hey folks, how you doing? I'm going to show you a little setup that I'm working on my rifle for. I wanted to show you guys a little situation I've run into in case anybody else is getting a 50mm objective scope for a X-bolt using a Picatinny rail. I'm using the rail. It's just no MOA. It's not a 20mm MOA. It's just a flat rail. It's a Leopold, so it's a good rail, and I've got some nice rings. They're Vortex. They're not the pros, but the sports. Very good rings too for the 30mm. So this is a 30mm scope, 3D18 by 50. And it has a little round thing at the very bottom of it that kind of comes out at an angle, and that is giving me a problem being able to twist my scope just in the right direction all the way to get that scope level. The crosshairs are just slightly off, and I haven't put it to a level or anything. You can still just see it. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. All right, here's the X-bolt. This is a 6.5 PRC. The stock all set up. Put this grip on. I got the spacing right on the rear butt plate. I adjusted the trigger. But this is the scope I bought from my brother. It's Milex is the name of the scope. The name of the company that makes the scope is Veridian. But right there, you can see that little round thing right here, that thing right there. Some of these scopes that have, I'm not sure if it's the parallax adjustment or if it's the illuminated reticle, but when they have that little stupid thing in there, it hits the scope, hits the Picatinny rail right there. You see that? I've got it just off of it because I was going to try and see if I can. But if you want to make something that's long range, you have to have everything level, especially for longer shots. It's not touching right now because it's still cocked a little bit. So I can't put it down all the way. So what I did, these are lows. If you have a scope that doesn't have that, lows should be fine. These are low rings. But I had to reorder a set of mediums for this rifle. These are very good scope rings. I had to order some mediums. That'll bring me up a little bit higher. And see, I have enough clearance right there. So the mediums will bring it up a little bit higher. So, but with a low, just trying to show anybody who wants, has a scope that's a 50mm objective and just has a flat rail, not a 20 MOA, because 20 MOA would bring that ass end up and bring this bell closer to this barrel, which you probably don't want to do, because that's pretty close already with these covers on there. So it's gonna kind of work out all the way around for me. If I'll get mediums, that'll bring that up a little bit higher off of there too, and that should bring this up, get that out of there, so I can turn that scope and torque it, tweak it all the way so I can get that reticle level. All right, there you go. If anybody has the same issue like that, if you got this is just a flat base. It's not a 20 MOA, and these are low rings, the Vortex Sport rings that would work if you have a regular scope that doesn't have that little thing on there. Hope that helps somebody out. All right, I got the new rings. Here are these are the small or the low profile rings. You can see how that little gap right this spot here is the difference. Here's the medium. See how much thicker that is than that. This is a 0.80 millimeter, I think, and that's a 0.90 millimeter, so it's just 10 millimeters different, as you can see there. But these are what I'm going to put on the rifle, and that should get that scope. Here's the scope. This is the problem right there. That little round doohickey right there, that little bit of an edge was creating the problem that wouldn't allow me to turn the scope all the way this direction without it hitting the Picatinny rail. That would not allow it to get level. Let me get my reticle level. So these rings, which are much higher than those ones, and these ones just barely, it was hitting it, it just wasn't good enough. There was definitely hitting it, I wasn't sure if once it started to shoot it, if it was going to hit that thing, and I didn't want it to damage the scope either, so I decided to just go with a taller ring, the same brand, Same brand, you know, same Vortex. These are the new ones, the mediums. Vortex Sports. I'm gonna put those on that rifle and see what it looks like when she's done. All right, here's that gap. This is with the medium rings on here on a regular 0 MOA base on this X-bolt too. That fits in there nicely. You can see there's plenty of space now between here and that little round thing on the other end of that scope. So that was the problem. It was when I was twisting to try and level that scope out, it was hitting this Picatinny rail here right before it would get level. So there's plenty of space there now. Reasonable space here. And this is a 50 millimeter objective scope. Everything's fitting well. So if you buy an X-Bolt 2 with a 0 MOA, there's plenty of room there. I'm just thinking even if you have a 20 MOA rail, you'll still have enough room, a gap for there. So that's with the medium rings. I did have lows on there, and it was missing that fine enough, but that thing was hitting this. And when I bought the scope from my brother, he had highs on here, and when he had highs, this was like freaking that high off the barrel, so I didn't want that. So, and I do have another X-Bolt 2 that has medium, almost like tally rings that fit without this Picatinny rail. They'd go mount right to the rifle. So those ones work fine with a 44 millimeter objective, and may work with a 50. I'm not sure. Alrighty, there you go.